Our first story is an update to a story I did about 2 weeks back. Anyone hasn't seen that story yet? Click the card in the top corner or the link in the description. Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my stepdaughter to go ask her real dad when she asked me to pay for her plane tickets? Hey guys. It's been a good 2 weeks since I've posted and I figured you guys would like an update. A lot has happened since the last time I posted. So that night, I did what many of the comments suggested I do, which was to apologize. I told her that I'm sorry, that implying that I'm not her real father, but like it or not, that I consider her my daughter. That I loved her and will always be there for her. She started to cry and sob uncontrollably and said, why doesn't he, her biological father, love me? I held her and told her she didn't need to fight for his approval. I also apologized for looking through her phone, that I've come to accept that it's not an appropriate punishment for a teenage girl, and I was going to find other alternatives. Lastly, I brought up therapy, and while she was hesitant at first, I let her know it was nothing to be ashamed of, that everything she said at therapy would be entirely confidential, and that it could help to have a confidant to help her sort through her feelings. She sat on this for the day, but the next day let me know that she was ready. So I set up the soonest appointment, which was last Friday and her second appointment this afternoon. It's only been a week, so I don't want to get too optimistic, but honestly, I feel like I'm noticing an improvement already. She's actually been engaging back in small talk, when normally she wouldn't give me the time of day. She's been following all the rules, coming home at a reasonable hour. She's been less withdrawn and more social even, to the point where her brother commented on the change today. But the most exciting news of them all is when getting out of the car on her way home from therapy. She said, and I quote, "Thanks, Dad." She's never called me Dad before, so honestly, I've been riding off that high for the last 2 hours. I'm not delusional enough to think everything's peachy, but honestly, the behavior changes in the last week was the most progress we've had since, well, ever. I'm cautiously optimistic going forward. Thanks again everyone for your comments, especially the ones who gave me the kick in the butt I needed. Now let's jump to the top comments of this post. I commented on your first post. Very happy to see this heartfelt update. I personally thought that you were, for the most part, not the a-hole, but still good on you for taking criticism so well and using that to strengthen your relationship with your daughter. A lot of people in your shoes would not have handled it as well as you did. Hoping life is easier on your going forward. Take care, dude. Just went back to the old post. Your comment was actually the one that convinced me that even if I was right, doesn't mean I shouldn't be the adult in the room and apologize. Thank you for your comment. I truly haven't felt this optimistic in a long time. Thank you so much for the update. I was an original commenter too. I told you she was taking it out on you because she knew she could depend on you. I mentioned what my own stepfather said to me. Know that calling you Dad was planned long in advance and took every ounce of her courage to speak that word and pretend it was casual. You are a good man and a great dad. Yes, I definitely remember your post. I appreciate your comment. It was very insightful. But the most exciting news of them all is when getting out of the car on her way home from therapy. She said, and I quote, "Thanks, Dad." She's never called me Dad before, so honestly, I've been riding off that high for the last 2 hours. I'm smiling while reading this. Don't worry, I'm smiling every time I reread this too. I remember your original post. I'm glad things are going well for you, and that you got it turned around. Thank you for your kind words, and God bless. This post was a pure serotonin boost. I'm so happy for you, OP. One thing that occurred to me is, it might be good to find a way to let her know how meaningful those small changes have been to you, just in the spirit of positive reinforcement being the most powerful agent of long-term behavior change. Having been a teenager girl myself, I do not recommend anything big or face-to-face. When my parents made a big deal out of small stuff I did right, it embarrassed me, which made me want to do the right stuff less. But sometimes, my mom would leave a little note in my room, letting me know how happy something I'd been doing lately had made her, and how much she loved me, how proud she was at me, etc. And that always really impacted me. I feel like if your stepdaughter knew how meaningful it was to you to have those small talk moments, and to hear her call you Dad, it would start to reinforce the reality that you do really love her. And she really does have a dad, even if it's not the one she originally thought. Just food for thought though, you're clearly already on a great path. For the second story, am I the a-hole for telling my sister she needs to be more realistic about her dating standards because she has damaged goods? I wasn't trying to be mean, and I only told her this because she asked for a guy's opinion after spending the last year not having much luck with dating. She had a hard time understanding why, since in the past, she's never had that issue. I'm not in the habit of beating around the bush when people ask me for my honest opinion, so I told her that she has to come to terms with the fact that her dating pool has changed. She is twice divorced with kids from each ex, so a lot of guys will view her as a damaged goods. It's not because there is anything wrong with her per se, but it's a lot of baggage to bring into a new relationship. They have to deal with 2 ex-husbands and 3 step-kids, and that complicates things and limits their relationship with her. A lot of people just don't want to juggle all of that. I would not. It may have been hard for her to hear, but I stand by that opinion because it's true in my experience. She didn't agree and took offense to what I said, particularly the part about her being damaged goods. She now is refusing to speak to me unless I apologize. I've asked a few people close to me if I was too harsh, and they all agree that I could have been nicer in how I expressed my opinion. They don't think I am the a-hole for what I said, but how I said it. I'm just not sure if I agree with that, since I don't know of a better way to tell someone that they need to be more realistic because they have too much baggage which makes them unattractive to most people. Saying that is essentially the same thing as saying they are damaged goods. Am I the a-hole for what I said or how I said it? Now let's read the top comments. You're the a-hole. Saying she has baggage is not the same as saying she's damaged goods. Not in the least. That was an a-hole thing to say. Try a little tact. LP basically called their sister an object. You're the a-hole. I'm very blunt too, and even I wouldn't have phrased it like that. She's not damaged goods. She has baggage, and you should have left it at that. You're the a-hole. So once a woman has kids, she should lower her standards? She's all of a sudden not good enough and is damaged goods? What the F? I voted you're the a-hole, but in response to your comment, I'd say that people rarely get what they deserve. She deserves to be happy, yes, and can wait as long as she likes for the right person. But I think weighing being pragmatic and what people deserve is unrealistic. She could find someone, but there's a real possibility that she doesn't. She deserves someone who will accept her, but the men she dates also deserve to find someone they want as well. It's not up to us to judge men who don't want a relationship with her. You're the a-hole. Your sister isn't a consumable good. She's a person. Does her past complicate things? Absolutely. But it definitely doesn't mean she is worth less a person. Now let's read the last story. Update. Am I the a-hole for paying for my stepson's college, but refusing to pay for my stepdaughter's? Original story. I, 46 male, have a wife, Janice, 44 female, and 2 stepchildren, Jonas, 25 male, and Lucy, 25 female. Their biological dad died in a car crash before they were born, and Janice has raised them as a single mother. I met Janice about 5 years ago, and we have been married for almost 2 years now. I love her very much, and we have an amazing relationship. When me and Janice started dating, we took things really slow. She said she had bad luck with men in the past and wanted to be sure. I, of course, respected that. After a year of dating, she introduced me to her children. Jonas was really excited to meet me, but Lucy wasn't. She was mean to me and overall distant. She made some inappropriate comments like, "Why do you even bother when you will eventually leave my mom?" Or, "My mom is better off without you." I tried to bond with her, but I never forced her to do anything. She is an adult, and when she said she doesn't want to talk to me, I respected that. On the other hand, me and Jonas really bonded. We got to know each other, we talk really often, and we play tennis together when we meet. About 2 years ago, me and Janice got married and she moved into my place. Her kids live in a bigger city, which is about 2 hours drive away, and they both go to college there. Both of them were visiting Janice every other weekend, but when she moved into my place, Lucy stopped visiting. There is no issue with my place. It's a nice big house with a garden, swimming pool, and tennis court. Jonas still comes every other weekend, but Lucy comes like once in 4 months. Last month, both Jonas and Lucy finished college and got their degrees. They came to us and we celebrated. Me and Jonas were talking, and I offered to pay off his student debt. I never had my own children, and I have some savings, so it's not that big of a deal for me. When I spoke to Lucy, she asked if I could pay for her college as well, but I said I won't. She got upset, and Janice got mad at me as well. She said that I can't pay for one child and not for the other, and that is either both or none. I get that, but Lucy was never interested in having any kind of relationship with me, and now she wants to get money out of me. Jonas was more than nice to me, and I want to help him out. Am I the a-hole here? Edit. I didn't offer to pay for his debt in front of both of them. I talked with him about it in private, but he was excited and told Lucy. Before we read the update, let's read the top comments to the original post first. Not the a-hole. My knee-jerk reaction is to say that, yeah, you're the a-hole and you should be fair with your money, but frankly, these aren't your kids. You've only known them as adults, and you have no real obligation to either of them. You can do what you want with your money. That said, spending money on only one and not the other is only going to cause more resentment, and that's pretty short-sighted to think that anything good could come of that. Not the a-hole as well. If I would resent a person and go out of my way to constantly show them that, I wouldn't dream to dare to ask for money. Even if offered to me, I would decline. We are talking about adults here. What's this? Her high horse stumbles on the money now? What if she married rich and her husband wants to pay for her? Would it still be both or none? I'm sure she is jealous at the thought of her brother being debt-free and not her. But life is not fair, and neither was she to Opie. So, time for a hard lesson in my opinion. No a-holes here leaning towards you're the a-hole, but there is a fair chance that this will damage your marriage. They're not your kids, but they are Janice's, and I can imagine that it would hurt her to see you favor one over the other, even if that is justified based on your much closer relationship. You really should have discussed this with your wife before making any kind of commitment. You're right, I should have discussed it with Janice, but I didn't plan this. I was talking to Jonas about his future plans and stuff, and I was really proud of him for getting that degree because he chose a really hard major and worked his butt off to get it, so I offered to pay off his debt so he can focus on getting a job he likes and a nice home. Here's a little clarification from Opie. I would just like to clarify something. When I offered Jonas to pay off his debt, I didn't expect that Lucy would ask me to do the same for her. Over the years, she has told me many times that she doesn't approve of my relationship with her mother and that she doesn't like me. I recognize that she has some trauma from her mother's past relationships, but I have done nothing wrong to her, and she doesn't need to take it out on me. However, I respected her boundaries and I didn't force her to spend time with me. She is an adult and makes her own choices. She said multiple times that she doesn't want anything to do with me, so when she asked me for that money, I knew that's the only thing she wants from me, and that's why I refused. Jonas understands why I refused to pay for his sister's college, and honestly, he was also a bit surprised when she asked me for money. Janice is still rightfully mad because I put her in a difficult position, but she understands my reasons. I know that I should have discussed this with her before doing anything. And now for the full update. I got a lot of messages asking for an update and how things ended up. Some of you guys gave me really good advice, and I was able to see things from another perspective. I'm grateful for that. It has been about 2 weeks since the incident, and I'm happy to say that we resolved everything, and we don't argue anymore. At first, I apologized to my wife. I know I put her into a really crappy position and caused a rift between our family. I only wanted to help Jonas, but I didn't think it all the way through. My actions were short-sighted, and I should have discussed this with her before offering to pay anything. We talked about everything, and thankfully, she's not mad at me anymore. She said she knows my intentions were good, but she needs to keep things fair between her children. She understands why I don't want to pay for Lucy's college, and admitted she was also surprised when Lucy asked me for money. I said if necessary, I would tell Jonas I changed my mind about paying his debt, and this way he would be mad at me and not at Janice, but we agreed to talk about it with the kids first. About a week later, we met with Jonas and Lucy to talk. I explained to Lucy why I won't pay off her debt. I told her she was nothing but rude and disrespectful to me for 4 years. She said many times she doesn't want anything to do with me, and suddenly changed her mind when she thought she can get money out of me. She understood. She said she got so excited when Jonas told her I would pay off his debt, and at the moment, she thought I could do the same for her, but now she understands why I won't and doesn't blame me. She admitted she had some issues with her mom's previous partners, and that's why she was so rude to me. When I heard that, I offered to pay for her therapy so she can get better, and Lucy accepted. At last, Lucy said if I'm still willing to pay off Jonas' debt, I should do it, because she doesn't want to stay in the way of his happiness. I asked Jonas if he's okay with me paying off his debt, and not his sister's, and he said he is. He thanked me and was very grateful for the offer. Janice also agreed, so I paid off his debt. I'm really happy I was able to help him like this. Now he can focus on getting a nice home for his future family he always talks about, and doesn't have to worry about his debts. I really hope the therapy works, and Lucy will be able to deal with her issues. I will try to put more effort into building a relationship with her, and maybe in the future, I will also pay off her debt. But I haven't told her. because I don't want to hold it over her head, nor I want her to fake it. Now let's read the top comments in this one. When I heard that, I offered to pay for her therapy so she can get better, and Lucy accepted. That's no small thing. So many people need/want to attend therapy, but simply can't afford it. Honestly, I think it's a better gift than paying off her debt. Especially since you mentioned that if things genuinely improve between you, you'd consider paying off her school debt as well. Instead of just giving in and giving her what she wanted to shut her up or end the drama, you're giving her what she needs to be a better person. Agreed. It looks like OP took the advice a lot of people gave in the last thread. That's great, and therapy can be used to improve on things that aren't just issues from her mother's past failed relationships. I also think it's wise to not tell Lucy that her debts can possibly get paid off too. Puts too much pressure on their relationship, and things like that need to grow naturally, especially when Lucy already has trust issues. OP offering therapy was the best olive branch, and a good decision that will benefit Lucy and likely the relationship she has herself. I'd like to say that it's also no small thing for Lucy to accept the offer. I'm pleasantly surprised by everyone in this family, but especially by Lucy. It can't have been easy to admit OP was right about both her treatment of him and why he wasn't paying off her student debt. And then she honestly spoke about why she'd behave that way. Then she accepted the therapy offer. And then she made a point of saying OP should still pay for her brother. I think she deserves a lot of credit in this update. Agreed. I was pleasantly surprised by Lucy's introspection. There's obviously hope for her based on her wanting the best for her brother. Here's more clarification from the original poster. There was a lot of questions under my original post and I didn't have the time to answer them all, so I will answer this way. Me and my wife have separate finances, and before marriage, we signed a prenup. I don't want to discuss why. I obviously paid his debt with my money. Both Lucy and Jonas have significant debt. Janice raised them as a single mom, and she didn't have the means to put them through college by herself. I'm able to pay for both of them. I never had kids on my own, and my job is well paid, so I have some savings. I refuse to pay for Lucy because of her attitude, not because I can't afford it. It's not like I wouldn't notice that the money is gone, but it wouldn't cause me any financial hardship. You seem like a good man. I wouldn't pay the debts of someone who treated me badly either. You have a generous spirit, and they are lucky to have you. Is there a chance that if Lucy works through her issues in therapy, and you can come to a place where the relationship is healthy, you may change your mind about paying the debt? Not saying you should, just curious. I think it's great you are paying for the therapy, and also understandable she has so many problems trusting and hesitations toward you. Certainly doesn't justify her behavior, but it's understandable considering her past. Kudos to you for the way you've handled this. I still think this is going to blow up later on. Yeah. Asking if the stepson was okay with his debt being paid and not his sister's. That might drive a rift between the two of them for sure. And that's it for this video, guys. If you have something to add, share us your thoughts down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and turn on your notification to get updated on the latest content. I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.